This is Ra Hogan for the Boxing Voice. I'm delighted to be here with England boxing coach Asgar Tair. How are you, Asgar?
I'm good, my man. How are you?
Fantastic.
Is this
really
your first
time.
First time?
First Zoom interview, yes. So, yeah.
Privileged.
No, the privilege is all mine. So,
hey, this is how it starts, man. In a year's time, you can be a superstar. This is my claim to fame, huh?
you gave me my first Zoom interview. Let's hope so. So, yeah, Asgar, better known as ASCII online.
Yep.
Yeah. Tell us about yourself. I know you do a lot of coaching. What you coaching amateurs at the moment?
Amateurs, pros. I run an amateur boxing club, Prospects ABC. Multiple national champions, international champions. Currently homeless. We're training at the park. It is what it is. But like I said, there's no gym, no excuse. We keep on going. Maybe the tables will turn one day, but it is what it is. We're a very busy gym, so happy days. I also train and manage a few professional boxers all across the UK. I've got Ahid Khan from Rochdale, Habil Khan from Rochdale, Siraj Ahmed from Nottingham, Michael Lee Broughton from Birmingham. I co-work with Hannah Jones, who's from Derby. Who else do I work with? Oh, wow. Ellis Hopkins from Leicester, I work along with Lewis Edmondson, and a few more to mention. So happy days ahead.
Well, some luminaries there. I know Louis Edmondson. He's quite highly rated coming up.
Oh, he's a great man, a great young man. Definitely super talented. I was fortunate enough to be his main cornerman for his last two fights, and in both fights stopping his opponents. So, you know, it's a good thing. I love working with Louis. I think he has a super talent. Once he settles, he'll be knocking on some major title doors and no doubt winning them.
He's boxing at super middleweight, I believe. Is that right?
Yeah, super middleweight. Brilliant lad from Southampton, aka the Saints. Great.
Yeah, I know. I've seen a bit of beef or attempted beef online between him and Zach Shelley. that might be fun.
I have not seen it. I'll have to follow that. No, that should be fun.
Yeah, absolutely. So I wanted to get your opinion today on a lot of the personalities in the game, a lot of the upcoming fights, because I know you've been close to some of the top talents in the game. We could start right with the big guys. Tyson Fury. I know you're good mates with him, and you've been in his camp in the past. Would you make of the proposed fight with Dillian Whyte?
I think it's a great fight. I think Dillian Whyte deserves it, one. And Dillian Whyte's not one of your typical, like Deontay Wilder, you know he's going to throw the bombs. Dillian Whyte's reckless in terms of throws at every angle and unpredictable. But I see Dillian Whyte as I see him like Trezora, you know, the Tyson versus Trezora 2. I see the fight planning out the same. I see the style being the same. What can Dillian Whyte offer that others haven't? What can he bring to the table? You know, Tyson can box on his back foot, front foot. He's now shown that he's got the power. He's definitely got the skill set. He's definitely got the ring craft. He's definitely got the confidence. I don't want to disrespect Dillian Whyte because I think Dillian Whyte's a very, very good fighter. He's improved massively and he deserves all the respect and credit possible. I'm glad Dillian Whyte gets the chance to fight for the world title because he's waited long enough. So, it's not officially official, is it? Because you've seen Tyson and Usyk in Madison Square Gardens talking. We don't know what's going on behind the scenes. So we could have a unification fight there, or we could have Dillian Whyte. But I'd much prefer Dillian Whyte. I don't think Tyson needs all the belts to define him who he is. He's already proven who he is. He's proven sealed his legacy for this generation. He's lineal champion, the man that beat the man. He's had all the belts before. So it doesn't mean anything by being Usyk. Personally, I like to see Dillian Whyte because I've always said it previously. I like to see him beat AJ, which obviously is up in the air. I knew we'd beat Klitschko. I knew we'd beat Wilder 3 times. So it's just Dillian Whyte out there. And I would like to see AJ fight. I don't think the Usyk fight appeals to me. I think that's just a fight to prove the point. But Tyson don't need to prove anything. Sealed his legacy.
Mm-hmm. the thing about the Dillian fight, wouldn't you agree? The build-up would be just so much fun. I mean, two guys that can talk, two abrasive personalities. I mean, for us, the fans, I mean, it would just be great.
I don't think so. I think that'll be a mind game. I think it'll be quite opposite. I think people will come with very, very, we'll be treading on very thin ice here because remember, Dillian and Tyson know each other from back when we was up training camps in Belgium. So, Dillian's no stranger to the game or to Tyson. I think John will bring a lot to the table. John Fury is always vocal. Dillian will be very, very respectful. Then Tyson will probably say something. Dillian will probably say something. I think it'll be a great build-up, but I think it'll be a great fight because Dillian will come out firing. But the question is, we know Tyson can take a shot. We know he's been dropped. He gets back up. Nobody hits harder than Deontay Wilder. We know Tyson can fight, like we said, fight on the front foot, can fight in the back. He can just jab him all day. Tyson's a far superior boxer. His boxing intelligence is far superior. He's got the longer reach. He's got the faster feet. So, I think, like it says, I think the main build-up is going to be exciting. I think Tyson's got a lot to lose, little to gain, because he's expected to beat Dillian Whyte. But we know heavyweight boxing is that one punch changes the whole game. Mm-hmm. Can Tyson build himself up to fight, to beat someone like Dillian Whyte? Because we've seen Tyson, he has to rise to the occasion. You've seen with his what's his name? Sufi and who's the other guy for in the Pianetta? Mm-hmm. These are fights, and even someone like Otto Walling, these guys don't really rise up to the occasion. And is he really switched on? Will he take his training serious? I'm sure he would. But honestly, like I said, I like Dillian Whyte, and I really want him to do well. But we're talking the greatest of our generation, once in a million, or billion, once in a lifetime Tyson Fury.
Mm-hmm. You mentioned some of the past training camps they had. Dillian claims that he dropped Tyson a couple of times in those sparring sessions. Any truth in that?
No. If he did, I'm sure Dillian Whyte would be very vocal. Dillian Whyte's not going to mention what really happened in camp. The only person that knows what happened in camp are those that were there, and I'm sure they would have spoke about it had he have done whatever he did. But listen, he knows he never.
Okay. I mean, talking of getting dropped, I mean, Dillian has actually been knocked out twice now. I mean, you know what this game's like. They say after a couple of bad concussions, your punch resistance actually diminishes. Do you think that could be a big factor if Tyson wants to stick it on him, if they were to fight?
To a certain extent, but listen, in sparring or fights, doesn't mean anything. Look at Amir Khan when he first fought Prescott, dropped straight to the canvas. Then we've seen him get dropped a few more times after. Mm-hmm. But then you've seen him in fights where he stood his ground. The Maidana fight where he was holding on and he was still doing well. AJ, you've seen him where he's been dropped and he's got back up. Or this whole concept of your punch resistance, I don't agree with, because I don't know. It's hard to explain. Because we've seen AJ drop Whyte very, very bad. Mm-hmm. We've seen, who dropped him? Was it Pulev?
It was Povetkin.
Povetkin, yeah. Povetkin dropped him. But in the rematch, it's a different ball game. Mm-hmm. Everything's about, in heavy boxing, you just don't know what's going to happen. It's that lucky punch with that much power applied at that weight, you're going to get dropped. It's expected you to get dropped. But certain people don't realize sometimes it's actually good to drop rather than resist that punch, causing more damage. Does that make sense? When you brace yourself and it can cause more damage, take more out of you.
Okay. That's interesting. I mean, we mentioned Usyk there. You're saying that you don't think Tyson needs to fight him. His uncle Peter, who of course was his trainer for many years, in an interview, he did say he thinks Usyk is the real threat at heavyweight because of his technical expertise. In the past, I think Tyson himself has admitted that smaller heavyweights actually give him more problems because we know Tyson's got fantastic movement for a man of his size and he can deal with lumbering
absolutely.
heavyweights.
We know this because we've seen with Steve Cunningham at Madison Square Gardens when he dropped Tyson. But then when Tyson puts on the pressure, because he obviously can't get records with these guys. But Steve Cunningham was always a great puncher at cruiserweight. Usyk's never been a knockout specialist at cruiserweight. We've seen that he struggles at heavyweight, but Anthony Joshua didn't fight the right fight. You know, he didn't use his tools to his advantage. We're talking about a guy that can keep people like Usyk at bay, that can put the pressure on Usyk if he wanted to. But I don't think the belts define anything. I think it's like a freak match. You're talking someone that can maul a younger. He's bigger, but he's faster. He's what can you say? Tyson doesn't fear. He'll go into it if he has to, and he'll literally drain Usyk. You see what Trezora did with Usyk. Absolutely put the pressure and pressured him, and you know Usyk was huffing and puffing, but that doesn't take anything away from Usyk. Usyk's a phenomenal fighter. Give all the maximum respect possible, but with Tyson, you're talking a serious different level. I'm not disrespecting Usyk. I like Usyk. I think he's great for boxing, but I don't think he's great for super heavyweight boxing.
But would you agree that technically he's one of the best fighters out there? Period.
Yeah, absolutely. There's no doubt whatsoever. Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
What did you make of the fight between AJ and Usyk? I mean, a lot of people say AJ he had the wrong tactics. But
listen. I was one of the people to say that he had the wrong tactics, but you got to understand and show Usyk that respect. He wasn't allowed to apply that kind of pressure onto Usyk because Usyk didn't allow him to. Usyk learned his lesson from Trezora, where as Trezora was mauling him, he struggled, but he's learned that. Every time AJ took a step forward, it looked like he hinted forward. What would Usyk do? L-shape his way out and get to an angle where you can't put your pressure on him. And before you do, he's put his leading hand out. So he would always have that perfect rangefinder. Very, very smart man. And then when AJ tried to adjust or adapt, bam, Usyk will catch him with a few shots, take him out of his rhythm. As soon as AJ tried to settle, bam, again, take him out of his rhythm. And that comes from a fit, experienced kind of boxer. He stuck to his game plan, didn't break form, and you got to give Usyk the maximum respect. Take nothing away from AJ. He did try. Yes, we all shouting, he should have put his weight on him. He should have mauled him, but he wasn't able to. And that's the sign of a great boxer like Usyk. Remember, AJ's very limited in his boxing ability.
Yeah, I was going to come to that. I mean, obviously you're a boxing coach. A lot has been made of AJ's corner. Too many voices. I mean, what's your view on that?
I'm a strong believer in the one chef in the kitchen. You know, Rob McCracken was the voice, and they should have just listened to Rob McCracken. I did feel that there was too many voices. I felt it was all wrong personally, but at the end of the day, I'm not slating any of the coaches because the coaches are proven guys. They're the great coaches, very technical, and maybe there's a thing broken down between AJ and Rob McCracken that we don't know about. Because why would you have called these many coaches in? You know, you could see when he walks in the ring and he's getting an opinion from Clifton Mitchell. You could see when he's walking towards the ring and he's waving to the crowd. And, you know, is this right? Well, he's been doing that from day one. So listen, we can all blame the trainers. We can all blame whatever. But the bottom line, it's all about AJ. Sometimes you've got to ask yourself, you know what? It's not working. Bite on your gum shield, get that chin down and dive in. Rough the man up. But I don't think AJ was conditioned or fit enough mentally and physically. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because a lot of people change their style to fight a fighter. Why do you need to do that all the time? Sometimes you just be you and let them worry about it. Let them change to your style.
A lot of people have actually thought with AJ, certainly since the Klitschko fight, that his biggest problem isn't so much punch resistance as opposed to stamina, because he's too muscular. So that if he tries to fight at a higher pace or a higher workload, he quickly gasses out, and maybe he had that in mind against Usyk.
I felt that what people do is they work on a lot of the technical side of things when they should be working on a lot of the conditioning side of things, the high repetition workouts. You know, rather than blasting all the time, building on that muscle, which is going to suck in a lot of oxygen and make you a lot tired quicker. Work on conditioning, high tempo punches, light punches, working rhythms, and try and see how much shots you can throw. Because they're all heavyweights and every punch hurts. And I just don't think AJ was the AJ we knew that was going for the kill with everybody. I felt that mentally he wasn't there, definitely. Mentally he wasn't, physically and mentally he was weak.
Mm-hmm. Of course, it's been quite publicised that he's been touring America, looking maybe for an alternative sort of coaching setup. Again, as a coach, you know best. For someone, as you said, his boxing, I wouldn't say ability, but maybe his technical ability is somewhat limited in the sense that, say, someone like Tyson Fury, Billy Joe Saunders, these guys can change coaches throughout their career because their technical grounding is so thorough because they started as children. Pretty much since they could walk, they've been boxing. And so they can take things from different coaches, whereas someone like AJ, maybe Wilder as well.
Well, no. I don't agree. If you look at Tyson Fury's style, you look at the transformation Peter Fury made with Tyson. The Tyson Fury before the Klitschko, before the Trezora, before the Christian Hammer, before the Joey Abel fight, there was a complete different fighter. As soon as Peter Fury's come and changed that style. So you've got to give Peter Fury that maximum respect because he gave us the Tyson Fury style. So you've got to give Peter Fury that respect. Ben Davison, he did a phenomenal job. He got him back into fighting the Peter Fury style, believing in himself, giving us them feints, giving us them jabs, and adapting his own ingredients to the mix. So, people like Peter Fury and Ben Davison, you've got to give them their respect. Incredible coaches.
Absolutely, fully agree. What I mean, though, is someone like, say, AJ, who started boxing a lot later.
Yeah, but
would he be able to do that?
Game plans he needed. I don't agree with the American offensive kind of style that he was looking for, because why else would you be going to America? England's got some fantastic coaches. He could have gone to Ben Davison. He could have gone to Adam Booth. He could have gone to. I don't know, Tony Sims. Yeah, I do like him. He could have gone to McGuigan. He could have gone to anyone. Even Clifton Mitchell. I think Clifton Mitchell's a great coach. I think, especially being a heavyweight contender himself. People like that who've got the experience that use the boxing skills. You know what I mean? AJ could have gone to anyone in the UK, but he wanted to look in American. I don't agree with that. I think that was more of a marketing or link or promotional link or a business link that he was trying to do.
Is 4 months enough for a fighter to overcome someone who beat him quite comprehensively last time round?
No, for me, I would reassess the whole situation. I would try and come with something different. And if you want to come back with something different, get a fight in between. But it is what it is, and maybe there's nothing wrong with going back into it. 4 months is more than enough time. You need your break. You need to readjust, sit down, get back to training, and work on a new game plan. Listen, he's proven himself. He's a two-time champion, world champion. So what? You've already lost before, twice now. So it doesn't really matter. But I think if he takes his fight with Usyk and he loses again, that's it for him. There's no way back in. I felt he should have took the step aside money, let Fury have that fight, and then try to work on the winner. That gives him more than enough time, rather than sitting around, build up new momentum, have a warm fight. Then whoever's presented in front of you, which I think will be Tyson, then prepare yourself for someone like Tyson. I think Usyk's all wrong for him. 1, the game plan was wrong. 2, third thing was, look at the damage AJ presented to him on a bad night. Can you imagine when AJ's on his A game? I think he'll maul Usyk.
Okay. So you don't think he necessarily needs to take a few tune-ups? I remember when Lennox Lewis, when he changed coach, when he first got knocked out by Oliver McCall, him and Emmanuel Stewart had a good 2 or 3 knockovers to work on things before he got back in with the sort of top level opponents. You don't think AJ necessarily needs that?
No, Lennox Lewis, he was forced to take them fights. I think they had some arbitration case or something was going on, and he was such a threat to the heavyweight division. They brushed him aside. They didn't really want him back in. That's it, you lost. I mean, we pushed him aside. So he had to rebuild himself up the rankings, then get this title shot, get his rematch, which he did do. And obviously, you've seen what he did to Oliver McCall.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he wasn't the best of stoppers because he had a breakdown in the ring, didn't he?
Oliver McCall, what a chin! Had never been put down.
What a chin! But he did the business with Hashim Rahman.
Yeah. Memories, eh? Mentioned Billy Joe. You're good friends with him.
Yeah, he's a good brother, Billy Joe.
Now, obviously, he had that huge fight with Canelo. Unfortunately, got that injury. Didn't pull it off. How is he? I mean, we know fighters, they're men with great egos, especially when they're champions. It can often be hard for them to come to terms with that first defeat. Is he still coming to terms with that, as far as you know?
Listen, looking at his interview, he said, look, I got beat by the better man. But let's just go into that. Let me tell you what it is. He got beat by a man that was taking, what do you call it, legalized PEDs or legitimate PEDs or whatever he's taking in this Mexican beef. Mm-hmm. It's quite clear and obvious what he's taking. Since he's been taking that, his performance has increased massively. I think he's a cheat. I think it's disgusting. I think it should be exposed. I'm sure it will be. But because he generates so much money, and we're brushed under the carpet. We know Billy Joe was doing very, very well. He was out pointing, out skilling Canelo. But as you can see, as the rounds went on, the PEDs kicked in. Canelo was getting a lot stronger. Billy Joe was fading a bit. But remember, this is what people don't understand. Billy Joe continued to fight till the final bell, went to his corner, and his corner pulled him out. Billy Joe Saunders was injured. He couldn't see, but wanted to continue. But his corner pulled him out, and it is what it is. But I still don't give Canelo that respect because of the PED situation. Look what Mayweather did to him. Took him to school, spoiled him up. Everyone's trying to say, well, look at the ages. Well, Floyd Mayweather was 40 years old. Canelo was 25. And when Canelo was 25, Canelo was at his... when Floyd was at 25, Floyd was at his peak. So this talk about, he was only 25. No, he was 25 without taking the PEDs and got slapped up. When he started taking the PEDs, he started going from division up. Now he wants to, is it Berb Tiav he wants to avoid? And he wants to now fight some flipping waste man.
The cruiserweight WBC champion he's targeting. Yeah.
But you've also heard what Usyk said. Look, I'll come down to cruiserweight and I'll fight you. But Canelo don't want it because everybody knows what he's taking. It's disgusting. I don't like it. I don't like it.
Yeah, Caleb Plant brought it up at their press conference for their undisputed clash, and we saw Canelo's reaction. Personally, I thought, why would he get so annoyed unless it's touched a nerve? But
the truth hurts, man. The truth hurts.
So, as far as you know, is Billy? Is he going to come back? I think in one interview he did intimate that he would like to come back for a big fight for the fans.
Absolutely, Billy Joe would love to come back. He's got to have that incentive. Who else is there? Canelo ain't going to take a rematch. Who else is there? Andrade, Chris Eubank Jr. He's told Chris Eubank Jr. straight, if you want the fight, let's have it. But like I said, he ain't going to fight for nothing. Put the money on the table and let's have it. Now it's up to Eubanks to get his backers to back him because Billy Joe's told him he wants to fight. Mm-hmm. I personally like to see him fight Triple G. I like to see him fight Eubanks, obviously, because they say it was so nice. Let's do it twice. Beat him twice. I don't see Eubanks having anything to offer him. Andrade would be a good fight. Become a 3-time world champion. But Eubanks, Billy Joe's not about winning the world title. He's already done it twice. Billy Joe's about fighting the best that there is available. Triple G will be a great fight because he was the guy that you had to beat to be the man. And I think it'll be a great fight. Triple G versus Billy Joe. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I spoke to Adam Smith last week at the Josh Taylor press conference. He said that they're targeting Triple G for Eubank. As you know, Chris Eubank, he is now being heavily backed by Sky. So they're going to probably push him. If he can get a world title, him against Billy next summer in a stadium. I mean, again, that's one of those great domestic needle matches because there's that beef between them. I mean, I think we'd all love to see that, wouldn't we?
Absolutely. Listen, Chris Eubanks knows Billy Joe's living in his head rent-free. He gave him his first L, and ever since, Eubanks can't seem to accept that. And it's Billy Joe don't need Eubanks. Eubanks needs Billy Joe. That's what everyone needs to understand. You're now the face of Sky Sports or Boxer or whatever. Get your men to back you. But like I said, I think they know. Listen, let's just milk this Eubanks. Let's just try and make as much money as we can. Listen, let's leave this Billy Joe alone because he's a dangerous fucker. And Billy Joe at middleweight is unbeatable. Unbeatable. Never lost at middleweight.
Now, Billy Joe, between fights, we know he likes to enjoy life a bit.
Like most boxers, you know, the put on weight.
Yeah.
But when it comes to training, I'll vouch for it. Billy Joe's one of the most disciplined, dedicated athletes there is possible. You know, once he's put his mind to it, and he needs to see that there's a game plan. He needs to know there's a target. Once the target's, you know, signed and sealed, you'll see Billy Joe right on it, and he'll make sure no stones unturned until he's in tip-top shape.
So you're confident Billy could get back down to middleweight if need be, if there was a big
fight?
Absolutely.
I've got no doubt whatsoever. He's got the best of the best training facilities, the best of the best trainers. Personally, I'd love to see him with Ben Davidson again. But that's Billy Joe Saunders' choice. You know, he's got a load of options, got the Ingalls. He's got so many options, but I'd like to see him with Ben Davidson, and I'd like to see him, or even Mark Tibbs, but I'd like to see him back in action. That's my personal goal, because I like Billy Joe Saunders. He's one of the nicest guys, and without a doubt, one of the most talented British boxers ever, without a doubt.
And talking of most talented British boxers, as I mentioned, interviewed Josh Taylor, another man you know well. I mean, how good is he?
He is the undisputed champion of the world, and in my opinion, pound for pound, world number one. And I'll tell you this: I told you he'll beat Martinez. I told you he'll beat Prograis. I told you he'll become undisputed, and I'm telling you now, he will beat Crawford. He will stop Crawford. Make no mistake. Oh. You've seen the pictures of them standing next to each other, and you can see Josh Taylor eyeing him saying, I don't think you're as big as I thought you was now, son. Now you're in my league. You know what? I'll come to you. Lopez had the chance, opened his big mouth, took his eye off the prize, didn't focus on his own opponent. He started talking about bigger things, and then what happened? He got beat by Cambosis. Is it Cambosis?
Yeah.
Who beat?
George Cambosis beat him. Back to Oz.
It is pretty sad. No rematch clause. Oh dear. Ouch.
Is it fair to say, Josh, what he's achieved, he's already one of the greatest British fighters ever?
Definitely. And he's going to become a two-weight world undisputed champion. 18 fights, he's won everything. You know, what more can a man do? What more can a man do? You know, maximum credit for Ben Davidson. You know, you got to give Shane McGuigan, obviously, his dues, did his business. But you didn't, it's like a curry. You add spice to make it that extra special. And Ben's given his ingredients, and you can see it. And Ben's such a perfectionist. You know, he'll be going over that fight and scrutinizing everything, every single mistake. And even though Josh won, became undisputed champion, nope, it has to be perfect. So you know that Josh Taylor has still got gears to go up. Mm-hmm. And it's scary. It really is scary.
And he's only, 29, 30? So pretty much in his prime now.
Absolutely. And Josh is a professional athlete that lives a life, dedicates his training. There's no mistake. It's full on. And it's like Ben's shown him that, look, you're at this stage where you can't afford to cut corners, get the best of nutrition, get the best of strength conditions, get the best of recovery, get the best of boxing training, you know, get the best of sparring. And Josh Taylor's now doing that. You can see that with Ben Davidson. So it's great. And I think he's going to go from strength to strength and become a two-weight, 2 times undisputed champion.
Wow. I mean, undisputed in 2 of the toughest divisions. I mean, if he does that, I think it's fair to say he's the greatest British fighter ever.
No, definitely.
Would you go with that?
He's definitely top three. Because you've got to give Joe Calzaghe his credit. You've got to give Lennox Lewis his credit. You've got to give Tyson Fury their credit. But definitely top three, Josh Taylor. In whatever order, we don't know, but we don't care. What we do know is he's number one pound for pound. He's a phenomenal fighter. He is incredible. A serious powerhouse. I even got a call from some of Cattrall's people, funny enough, the other day. Look, Asgar, we know you're not in the corner at the moment now. What's Josh Taylor really like? And I go to him, look, I'm being honest with you, I'm telling you straight up, he's going to destroy you, man. I'm not sure. And I had to be honest with him. I said, look, I don't gain anything out of this by telling you what I'm just telling you straight up. He's a killer, cold-faced, ruthless, ferocious killer. And people don't underestimate his power. His hands are all over the place. You don't know whether he's going to hook, uppercut, front foot, back foot, orthodox southpaw. He's a nightmare. This man switches at every angle. I think that's his taekwondo background. But Josh Taylor, he's a monster. He will destroy everyone and anyone that's in front of him.
Do you see him demolishing Jack Cattrall? Easy?
Yes.
It's an easy night's work?
A painful night's work. It'll be a slaughter.
Is there anyone at 140 pounds who you think can give Josh a really hard fight?
Who else is there?
None spring to mind that he's not already dealt with.
So the only option is going up to Crawford. And that'll be a great fight. And you got to give Crawford his credit because he's definitely joint one with Josh Taylor, definitely. And Crawford is a very, very smart man, very patient man. And I can see a decline in Crawford in his latest fights. And I see an increase in Josh Taylor's fights. And I feel Josh Taylor, at his most comfortable weight, will destroy. Well, not destroy. I think it'll be a brutal beating. I think he beats, I know he beats Crawford. I just see Crawford just getting stopped. I really do.
And how do you think Josh would do against someone like Spence, who may actually be more vulnerable than people realise? Because I don't think the full extent of those injuries from the car crash was ever really revealed.
Well, I like to see a judge a person on his characteristics. I see Spence as a reckless, irresponsible person. Look at the way he got drunk, didn't care, jumped in his car, crashed it. What does that tell you? He's reckless, emotional, got drunk, I've had enough in life or whatever. You don't know. But what he's showing me is he's emotional. So Josh will beat him mentally before the fight and break him physically during the fight. And I don't know. I think Spencer let a lot of people down with his actions. Make no mistake, a great fighter, a great American draw, good for the pay-per-view. But I just don't think he's mentally there.
Well, I guess time will tell. We don't even know if he's going to come back to the ring.
See, what's scary about Josh Taylor? If you look at his fighting, is it Kong Song, the IBF mandatory #1, ferocious puncher, was knocking everybody out. These Muay Thai fighters are conditioned to take shin kicks to the ribs or shin kicks to the head. Josh Taylor gave him a shot to his rib and shattered his ribs. I know how hard Josh Taylor hits because I hold the body bag. I used to hold the body bag for him. He's a monster. He's a killer. He hits so hard and with such a flurry of shots, the same serious power. I just can't see anybody beating Josh Taylor. I really can't. Listen, and people got to seem to accept Josh Taylor, the king of boxing, is from Scotland, and I'm upset with the BBC for not even putting him on the Sports Personality of the Year. The first person of this era to hold all the belts in one go. How are you not even mentioned? It's disgusting.
Well, the BBC have got past form with that when Tyson dethroned Klitschko. Of course, he was similarly ignored. I think
Exactly.
there's probably an element of snobbishness there. I mean, some fighters and coaches have actually pointed out that if you're not from sort of media heartland of London and Essex, that you sort of almost get forgotten about. Do you think that's what's happened with Josh because he's from up there in Scotland?
Yep, I think it's disgusting now.
Well, fortunately, Sky are backing him now, so we can hopefully see him pushed, really heavily as much as he deserves. So something to look forward to with Josh. Just want to ask you about some of the other big upcoming fights. Are you interested in the show on Saturday in Manchester?
Is that Parker versus Trezora?
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting fight. It's a last chance for Joseph Parker to prove himself. Trezora always makes it a hard night's work for everybody. But I see only a one winner there. I see Joseph Parker knocking Trezora out. I think Trezora will retire after this fight. It's a good fight, but I'm more interested to see Derby's own Sandy Ryan. She's boxing on the show, so I'm excited for that. She's definitely going to be winning multiple world titles. Who else on that show?
A couple of good super middleweight fights. Lerone Richards has got a really hard fight against Gongora.
No. You're talking about Sniper, my main man. What a guy. What a cool car. He should change the name to the Iceman. I think him and Dave Caldwell have got a great chemistry. Lerone's from the S-Jam team. Shane Watson, Adam Morales, Sam Jones, even though he's moved on to Probellum. I'm sure his heart's still with S-Jam. What a fighter! What a great guy! I've been up to see him spar loads of times. I think Lerone is just a cold heart killer. I think he'll make easy work of this. Even though people say it's hard on paper, I think he'll be the IBO world champion, and rightfully so. I've got a lot of time for Lerone and Dave Caldwell. I think they're a great match. I think they'll go on to greater heights. I think a lot of people will avoid Lerone because he's just so good. I mean, so good. I like him.
Yeah, I think people can get caught up too much when they see a fighter with a high knockout ratio. But someone like Lerone, you think he's got the skills to give him the runaround?
I think it's a great fight, great show. Wow, I didn't know. I forgot all about that.
And there's Jack Cullen, another guy who's got his rewards for taking several hard fights in a row. He's got a European title fight against, I forget the Frenchman's name, but he's another Frenchman with a high knockout ratio. Could be interesting. A lot of British super middleweights making the scene really exciting. So your man, Louis, in a few years,
my brother,
he could have some good domestic fights there.
I think it'll all run from Louis. I think Louis is the man.
Well, it's early days for him. Let's give him a few years to get up to that level. And of course, it was Khan v. Brook. What can you say? Sold out within minutes. I mean,
what a fight! What a fight! King Khan is just Cal Brook won it. He makes that. He does. He looks in great shape. Back with Dominic Ingalls, King Khan up in America, joined Team Crawford. Shows he's taking it very serious. Already looking in fantastic shape. There'll be a massive army of fans behind Khan, and I'm sure the rest will try and follow Cal Brook. There's only one winner for me. Only one winner. Well, no, I can't say that. I can't say that because Cal Brook hits hard and he's faster than a lot of people make. Khan is fast. Cal Brook's also fast. It really is a 50-50 fight. It really is. But I think on the press conference, mentally, Cal Brook showed me he was very vulnerable. Will the mind games of Khan destroy Cal Brook and make him emotional and go for the kill, make mistakes, fundamental mistakes, where Khan will expose him? One thing we do know, it's going to be an exciting fight. A lot of people said they weren't interested. It was way past its peak. But with the demand of tickets, with it selling out within minutes, you know the interest is there. I want Khan to win. I love Khan. I think he's great. And may the best man win, because I like Cal Brook as well. We've got our mate Amir Khan. In the other, there's a coach called Amir Khan in the other side. So it's an interesting fight. But I do want Amir Khan, King Khan to win.
Well, yeah, as you said, they've both been great servants to the sport. So if nothing
Absolutely.
else, gives them a last great payday, hopefully, and a last great
Listen,
hurrah.
you got to give Sky their credit because they've brought the fight, they've made the fight happen. How many fights have slipped through the net? Junior Tahata never happened, you know. And I'm glad this has happened because it's a fight we do want to see, and it's happening now.
And yeah, although a lot of critics say, well, that it's too late, but it's still an exciting fight because they're the same age and they probably both have diminished at the same rate. So it's still pretty much the same 50-50 fight that it always was.
I'm excited. I can't wait.
And who knows if it's a really close fight, dare I say even a draw, stadium fight in the summer as a rematch.
It's boxing. You never know.
Why not? Why not? Well, Asgar, thank you so much for giving me my first Zoom interview. The benefits of all your insights. Anything you want to add?
No, I've got some exciting fights to watch out for. Mikey Lee Broughton, Siraj Ahmed, Ahid Khan, Habil Khan. I've got Hannah Jones, Alice Hopkins, my main man, Louis Edmondson, and I'm sure there'll be a few others I'll be working with. Just watch out for him. Mikey Lee's out February the 5th, so February the 5th, get it out in your diary. Mikey Lee Broughton. He's going to be a very special lightweight, fantastic boxer, and I believe he'll go all the way. The rest, obviously, will have their pro. Well, Siraj is already the first British Pakistani to fight on Pakistani soil, so he made history. Hannah Jones, massive crowd behind her. She'll be out very, very soon in the new year. Ahid Khan, he'll be making his debut with the Rochdale lad. He'll be in Manchester somewhere. Very talented southpaw. So get behind all my boxers under the Asgar Tair Management Company, the ATM, and watch out for our Prospects ABC boxers. Exciting times ahead. So I'm excited.
Oh, fantastic. It's spreading the sport worldwide. Okay.
Yeah, exciting news, exciting times for next year. I'm looking to travel a lot, so it should be fun.
Fantastic. We look forward to following your journey. So, Asgar, thank you very much, and hopefully talk to you soon.
Take care, Rishi. Thanks for having me on. Good night.
Good night.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Untitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.